Okay, everyone, this is Dale Dawson again, and we're going to take you through a deck on Xinet 18, cover the points that will be released in this new version update. And then towards the end of the deck, we'll actually do a quick review and we'll look at the UI itself and do a little demo of some of the features and enhancements that we've made for version 18. I'm very happy to have Timo joining me to cover version 18 and explain the new production-based features of 18. Timo, do you want to say hello?
Hi guys, this is Timo speaking here. Same for me. I'm happy to see this huge list of attendees for this webinar, and I'm hoping that you'll enjoy what you'll see in the next half hour.
Great, thanks, Timo. So as we get going, we do have an announcement to make if you haven't seen it yet. North Plains was approached by the DAM Foundation, and they asked to review Xinet for their 10 core characteristics of a DAM system to validate if in fact Xinet is a DAM according to the criteria. And we passed. Timo and I actually gave the demo / test review with DAM Foundation. It was conducted by their people, and it was it was a 2-hour review of Xinet, its functionality, what it can provide to the administrators, the owners of the system, as well as the end users, and how they can take advantage of using a DAM like Xinet. And we're very, very happy about this. I know that Timo and I, every chance we get, we share with people this great recognition. So just to share it with anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But let's get right into the new features in Xinet version 18. The feature list for 18 is pretty packed with functionality. While it's basically 4 or 5 feature sets, they're pretty big features and have really pushed Xinet forward as a product in the North Plains portfolio. The first one being PDF X4 support and being able to not only deliver the quality of a PDF X3 file, but also including the new XMP format standards and handling transparencies within the PDF. Picture Wrangler CC, our latest update to the Adobe InDesign plugin for Picture Wrangler, bringing that into the CC and actually CC 2014 applications. Another actually big achievement. Picture Wrangler has been around for Xinet for a very, very long time, and to be honest, written on old code structures provided by Adobe, and they have with CC completely changed the SDKs required for working in Adobe, as well as being completely 64-bit now, and that required a brand new Picture Wrangler. So we're very happy about this advancement for Xinet. We've made some significant database updates for Xinet Venture, and I'm very happy to go over those details with you. One area that we've really been keeping up with lately, and I hope you've noticed over the last 18 months, is keeping up with server operating systems and making sure that our software runs on the most current operating systems available, and we're going to go through that list. And then finally, the Xinet Portal UI refresh. I'm sure you've seen the screen captures going around and maybe some of the teaser videos that we've published out. And we're really excited about this new UI refresh. And we're going to demonstrate some of this to you. It's currently in development, so you'll have to pardon imperfections that we might come across, but I think you'll get the idea of the new experience that we're presenting to you. So with that, we're going to go straight into PDF X4, and I'm going to hand this over to Timo.
Okay, thanks, Dale. Okay, so the first feature we're going to talk about today is PDF X4. Version 18 of Xinet will allow you to create PDF X4 files. We've been supporting PDF X1A and X3 for a long time, so X4 support is just the next natural step. For those of you who don't know what PDF X4 is, it's a subset of the PDF 1.6 format that forbids certain PDF functions that are not relevant for the print output. And the idea when this ISO standard was created was to allow a reliable data exchange of print-ready data. So what this means is it's just a definition of what color spaces are supported, if fonts are embedded into the PDF. There is a limited number of compression methods for images. Page content boxes need to be defined, and any of the non-printing objects, such as JavaScript or movies, are not allowed to be embedded in PDFX4 files. The main difference over the older X3 standard is that transparent objects are okay. So PDFX4 can contain transparent objects. So there is no need to flatten PDF files anymore before you send them to the printer. And the reason behind this is that modern output grips, and that's been true for a longer time, that are based on the Adobe print engine, are capable of rendering or ripping those PDFs with native transparency much more reliable now than they used to. So we support those modern workflows with Xinet 18. What does it mean for Xinet? The idea is you can drop a PDF into a hot folder, and if that hot folder is connected to a PDF processing queue, we can either replace any embedded images or convert any embedded images according to your specifications in the output queue. And we will add the required PDFX4 tags to the output PDF. Okay, so at the end of a PDF image replacement workflow, you have a much better defined PDF than what you currently get in version 17. Okay, next slide, please. Picture Wrangler. Dale mentioned it already. We're reintroducing Picture Wrangler. We have updated Picture Wrangler to work with Adobe CC and CC 2014. And we've seen over the past years that there is still a fairly big demand for our Picture Wrangler tool, especially when it comes to remote workflows. So the idea is that people could log in from a remote location and download FBOs, place those FBOs in an InDesign document, and upload the InDesign document back to the Xinet server. So back at the Xinet server or at the Macs that are connected in the local network to that Xinet server, we still require an easy way to link to the local high-res references on a mounted volume. And Picture Wrangler is extending InDesign's own built-in linking feature, which is limited to automatically just batch relink to images from one folder only. And Picture Wrangler supports relinking across the entire volume. Okay. That's it. Back to you, Dale.
Great. Thank you, Timo. So as I mentioned a moment ago, the Xinet Venture database has been updated for version 18. And so we've taken MySQL DB and we're releasing on the latest stable version of MySQL, which is 5.6.23, I believe. You'll have to check me on that minor number. But what this does is ensure that the MySQL database is running with the latest security patches available, not only from MySQL, but other linked libraries that are available from the operating system. This also enables updating to more current operating systems easily and being compatible with that underlying operating system. But we've gone a step further. And we've also made it so that the database can be installed on separate hardware. So you can actually have one machine running the Xinet file system and another machine running the Xinet Venture MySQL database. What this allows is for two unique I/O paths, CPU path and memory paths for these very distinct operations. And those of you that are very familiar with Xinet and the way it works knows that it has a very, very heavy I/O load as it monitors and updates the activity of the file system, creating previews of files, extracting metadata, and so on, and then updating the database. And normally it was the database that would have to wait for transactions to complete, such as preview generations of files, etc. Separating these instances enables these activities to occur in parallel, and with much friendlier user experience, meaning that when you're seeing your previews update, you're seeing your files become available, whether it's through the web interface or through the file system simultaneously. And this is key as systems get larger and larger. And those of you that have the larger Xinet instances with terabytes of file system data and almost equally in size of databases, this is definitely a scale improvement for you, and we're very excited about this ability. The configuration and setup of this is very simple. We will have tech note, we will have updated administration guides describing how you would implement the two servers, the Xinet file system server, the Xinet database server, and the necessary configuration. And it is quite minimal as far as the requirements. I would say that the biggest task, the longest task, is moving a database from copying it from one machine to another. And as you can imagine, those of you with larger databases, that could take some time. Especially when those databases do get up into the hundreds of gigs or terabytes. So, but other than that, the configuration is very, very simple, and the interface is also very familiar to for database administration, etc. Primarily, all configuration occurs within the main server, which is your Xinet file system server. In that native admin UI, you still configure your keyword metadata, templates, permission sets, etc. in that same UI. The secondary UI for the second server, for the database server, is just for checking status and managing backups on that server. So you really do get to do your day-to-day administration just from one UI, and you're not having to physically manage two servers at once. So this is a really great thing. So Xinet version 18 is going to run on 4 platforms. We are changing the way that MySQL, or I'm sorry, that we are deploying Xinet in the future Xinet server. It has been available on so many operating systems for so long, and many of these operating systems are frankly just not in use anymore, as we see from statistics gathered by what licenses we issue, etc. And this is good for you and for us, because it means we get to refine QA processes. So, we're going to be focusing on the primary Linux operating systems that we see reflected in our license issuing. So the Red Hat Enterprise Server version 6, 6.5, and 7. CentOS OS, which we introduced in 17.6 with 6.5 and version 7. Oracle Linux is now on our supported list for version 7. And then the Apple OS 10.7 through 10.10. But with the changes at Apple and the way they're approaching their hardware and software, we're not actually recommending Apple OS as a production system. For testing, if you have SDK licenses and you're doing your own development, etc., it's a great tool, absolutely, for that. For production, if that's what you have, it's what you have, and we'll continue to support you. But you will get better performance. You'll get better mileage out of your system, definitely from a Linux environment, particularly as Apple continues to change their operating system environment. And of course, we have done a lot of work to modernize the Xinet UI, and I know this is a long time in coming, but we're very excited about these improvements to help users find and work with the assets that have been added to the Xinet DAM. The features of the UI are primarily inherited by either exploring feedback that we've had from Xinet Pilot, also from feedback from North Plains product line. The on-brand product has a lot of UI review and UI acceptance, and so we've been working with those developers on that team, on the on-brand team, to help us with pulling features into Xinet. We've done a lot to make sure you're making sure you're seeing what you need to see and when you need to see it as far as presentation of information. We've completely reworked the MView interface, for example, based on feedback and user experience and interaction there. Our own user experience experts and myself and again, the people on the on-brand team have gone through and field tested many of the new features just to get feedback and to gauge response to how we've implemented working with filters or being able to access a preview, and have applied that feedback as much as we can into the new user interface. We're being sure that we carry all functionality that's currently available in Xinet, whether you use the exhibit interface or a house interface, etc., that we carry those functions, those features and behaviors into this new interface. Now, this isn't a new interface. We have not applied exhibit in a new fashion. This is brand new set of templates. It's HTML5, it's CSS3, modern JavaScript libraries to support the frameworks that drive the UI. All of them, well documented on the internet, and for those of you familiar with jQuery, with Twitter Bootstrap, etc., we are following their standards, their guidelines on how we apply those frameworks to this UI. The dynamic nature of the page being responsive is intact. Now, we're not targeting tablet user interfaces with this initial release, because we have behaviors that need to alter when you're on a tablet. And we're going to be doing that in an immediate following release to version 18. We're going to be sure that behaviors for a tablet work as expected. But we want to get this initial desktop version out as quickly as possible. So that's where our key focus is. So how about I exit out of my presentation, and we'll actually bring up the new interface and look around a little bit. Now, I'm going to move a little bit slowly to ensure what I'm doing gets sent out through the webinar to each of you. So what you're looking at is Xinet Marquee, the Marquee template set. So this is now addition to House and Exhibit. House and Exhibit, being written on old HTML standards, are being retired. We'll continue to ship them, and we'll continue to ensure that behaviors, that functions continue to work in those templates. But we will not be adding new features into those template sets. We'll be focusing on Marquee, and we'll also be focusing on Xinet Pilot going forward, which is also HTML5. The view here in front of us, you can see I've got the navigator, I've got some thumbnails of files, I've got some buttons that allow me to control the view. And what we've done here is we've taken feedback on the interaction of what we used to term an icon view and a short view and a long view, and we've incorporated those views together in this single display. So I can actually turn off the buttons and the names and represent what would have been our icon view in the past. I can bring those back. I can bring in dates, which would be a long view. And if I'm so inclined as a user and I want to see my viewable metadata fields, I can bring those out as well and view my dates. We're also introducing a list view. The list view will be somewhat stark at first, I'll admit. We're showing the file name, we're showing the different actions you can take with that file, like downloading and gaining image info. But we'll be building out more functionality and columns into the list view as we continue to bring Marquee through development. I'll come back to my icon view. One of the tips that we took from our pilot, Xinet pilot interface was the display of navigator and filters, which we did in tabs on the pilot interface. And what that did is it broke the full in-context experience of the user. They could navigate or they could apply filters, but if they had the screen set large enough and they wanted to view both at one time for any reason, they couldn't. This is addressed in the on-brand product by using these collapsible panels. So I can actually have a panel now that displays my metadata, and I can have my navigator. Of course, I can minimize that if I want. Just typical panel behavior. And a lot of these features, these are just base user experiences and an interface framework that so many of us are becoming accustomed to in web applications delivered today. And so bringing those in to Xinet just makes sense. Of course, the addition of having the basket contents available in the view as I work with the system. This isn't exactly new. We have this in Exhibit, but we actually can interact with the basket contents now in Marquee. I can access my different plugins for my basket that are available to me. My user has permissions to use. And I'm staying in context with that browse or search perhaps that I currently had. I'm not leaving that, but I'm able to interact with batch processes. And of course, I can show the basket if I wish and work with the basket in a more traditional way. So here I've got some standard images that I've applied to the system that I'm demoing from, and they're photographs. One of the things that I really like about Marquee that we've implemented is the ability to apply style sheets and actually theme the interface look and experience. So with photography, sometimes you want a more of a contrasty experience. You like a dark, like a charcoal or a black background while you're looking at photography. So I've actually got a theme that I can apply here. This user has 3 themes: default, which is this very white interface; North Plains, which uses the North Plains branding colors. We'll look at that one in a moment. And then I've got a slate. So let's look at a more dark gray interface that allows these images to really pop up and give me something nicer to look at. Now those 3 themes will actually ship with Xinet Marquee. The ability to add more themes to the system is very simple, and I'm actually going to demo that process to you in a few moments. I'm going to switch back for now to the default view, and we'll continue the demo in this view for now. This is based on feedback, primarily to our on-brand team, but we've taken it on board for Xinet Marquee, and that is the experience of using image details, interacting with the image, all the things that we brought in image info, but in this window that doesn't take me away from what I was doing to get to this point. So I didn't leave my browse environment. I didn't leave my search returns. I'm keeping that context, and I'm bringing forward in display, my detail about this image. You can see that I've got a larger preview. I've got buttons to be able to interact as I normally would with this image. I've got metadata below that I can interact with. I can apply and edit metadata. We'll talk about this Commons tab in just a moment, but I can go into history and I can view history. This is a simple image, so there's not a lot going on here. We'll look at an InDesign document too, and you can see more information. But on this Commons tab, this is the new feature that we're bringing into the user experience in the UI. So we're actually going to have a, I don't know, Twitter-like or Facebook-like threaded comments feature now in our user experience. So you can actually leave comments in a threaded format. It captures the user, the time, and then what their comment was here along with the image. This is separate from annotations. Maybe in your environment you don't necessarily need the annotations, but you would still like to have captured comments along with an image. So this does that, and this is a lot better than the old comments box that was available only through the single finder field that wasn't threaded. So this is a new feature that we have added that we think a lot of people will respond well to. Speaking of annotations, this area is still under construction, but I do want to show you what the experience will be like. If I want to interact with this file, I can bring open the annotations interface, and I'm still in my window. I'm still in that initial window I brought up, and you can see I start with a larger preview, a much larger preview than was previously available in any of our interfaces. We're making sure that we're taking up, I think it's 84% of the window available view, and then filling that window view with as much image as much preview as possible. So let's say this image is small enough that it would only fill in 40% of this view box of this canvas. Well, we're going to fill in the box. We're going to bring it up. That's a huge request that's been around in the Xinet list for years. So we're going to fill this in. We're going to populate this full window for you, and then you'll zoom from there if you want to use the zoom tool. And then I can also begin to interact with my annotation tools. Now, these aren't actually wired in yet. They will be in the next few days, from what I understand. This is actually a long way from what I saw yesterday, which I'm really pleased about. But I do have my annotation tools. I have my box tool to draw boxes, and a map tool, and the stamp tool, etc. And then what's still to be put in is the history, the comments information that is associated with each of those annotations that will be displayed here in this left panel. But that's coming along. And of course, when I'm done annotating, I go back into my details view, because this is where I started from. And of course, I can close this and go right back into the browse view. Let's look at a InDesign document. So just to give you an idea of interacting with other types of documents. So here's an InDesign document that I've got. It's a multi-page document. I can flip through the pages. Here, this being an InDesign and being linked on my system, I have access to the linked files that are part of the system, and I really do like the larger preview available here. We'll be adding other functionality around this preview as far as accessing its details and information as we continue to build this section of the interface out. But I really do like this experience a lot, and of course the history tab. If I close this and I go to one of the assets that was contained, for example, let's see. How about I search for it? Oh, yeah, there it is. So here's a Photoshop file that happens to have versions. I can find what document it was contained in. In this case, it was contained within another Photoshop file. And of course, I've got my comments control that we talked about, the new feature a moment ago, and as well as history. So real nice interaction here. And then we're also working on the custom order interface as well. We're bringing all the current behaviors and custom image order forward, which is a lot, as you can imagine, to work on. So there are a few things that aren't finished yet, like making the image larger, but we'll still have the cropping tool to work with. Again, a larger cropping tool than we had in the past. It really is about getting the best possible experience back to you with the images that you're working with the documents that you need to read, making sure that you can see visibly what's contained therein, and fixing all those old problems of improperly sized review images and previews that were presented. Okay. Oh, another thing that we've done with filters, and I'll just point this out. This isn't it's another area that's not finished, but it's important to point out. This actually came back from the field. We did some reviews in the field. Again, this is with the on-brand team. They use the exact same Solar engine we do. They use facets as filters, just as we do. They also have dates in their filter area here. You know, in this case, you're seeing last modified and created on, and you'll notice you also see those above the breadcrumb bar, which is new. The feedback that we got from the field was having dates in the filters tab, which is thought of as keywords, as metadata, just didn't make sense. It wasn't intuitive. So we're actually going to remove the date interaction from this list and keep it metadata, keep it keywords, and instead only have the date tools available here in above the breadcrumb bar. And so if you have custom date fields that you've set up as facets, they'll display here as well. So I can apply a filter, and here you can see my filter's been applied the way it displays up in the bar here, and my option to clear the filters. It's been removed from the list because I've applied that date filter. But just a much more intuitive way to work with the system. Okay, so we've touched on a lot of the pieces. I think you can see where we're going in direction with the user experience. I hope you like what we're doing, what we're working on. There will be a few things change between what you're viewing right now and the actual release. There'll be somewhat minor changes, but as we continue to work to tweak and get feedback as we test and trial our betas, we'll want to optimize this experience as much as possible. But as I promised, I do want to show you the way we've applied our Bootstrap theme or the Bootstrap technology into our theme, into our template set, and done a very good job of following all of the specifications and how to work with it. So I've got these two really great tools that I'm going to show you. So there is a product available out on the internet, and it's free, and it's called PaintStrap. And PaintStrap takes color palettes, specifically from Adobe Color or Color Louvers, and helps you in creating a CSS file very, very quickly. Great for just establishing brand colors in your style sheet. Really cool tool. So I've got my account set up over here on Adobe Color CC. So this is my account. You can see some themes I've created. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this one, we're going to edit it, and we're going to do just a change to this color. We'll make it purple just for the sake of demonstration. So a new color palette that I'm going to work with to create a new Xinet Marquee theme. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save it as a copy. Okay, so here it is. Here's my new palette. Please no comments on how ugly it is, but it's good for demonstration. Now I need to unlock this color palette. So it's private right now. I'm going to unlock it. And so that PaintStrap can find it, I'm going to copy the ID number. So we'll come to PaintStrap, apply that color number. The PaintStrap's going to decide how to, oh no, that's not good. Let's try it again. Oh, good. It's going to decide how to apply this color palette to a Bootstrap theme, and you can see it gives you a preview of what the theme would look like. Now, I'm going to make some quick tweaks to make this more usable. So we'll change the text to black. Make it easier to read. And change the navigation text to white. Okay, I'm going to call this good. I know it's ugly, but for the sake of the demo, let's call it good. Now I'm going to turn off Submit to the Gallery. I don't think the rest of the world wants my ugly color palette here. I'm going to have it generate the CSS. Okay, I'm going to download it. It zips it all up for me. And we'll minimize that, And oops. I've got, I'm using Coda for those of you that are web designers and editors out there. I'm using Coda in this example. And I've got my local copy on the left. This is the server I'm demonstrating with on the right. And here's my downloads folder with that PaintStrap bundle that was created. I'm specifically working with the Bootstrap minimized CSS file that it's generated. Now I'm going to rename it. I need to delete Bootstrap _IOI webinar. Okay, and I'm going to put this into my style sheet that is Marquee uses. And Coda should recognize, yep, Coda recognizes I've added a new file, so I'll publish it. Okay, let's get Coda out of the way. Now, because of the naming convention I just used, Marquee is going to recognize that a new theme is available. So I'll go into my theme choices, and now we see the fourth theme. We see IOI Webinar. And there's our new style sheet applied with colors. If I wanted to use a more advanced CSS editor for Bootstrap, example, Twitter Bootstrap actually has one on their website. I could do even more. I could change icon treatments. I can change. Oh, by the way, all of the icons that you see, iconography is actually glyph fonts, and you'll notice that they changed color with the style sheet because they're treated as a font. And with a font, you can change its size, you can change its color, etc. And this is the expanded professional glyph icon set. I can, with a CSS edit, I could change the brand logos up in the brand bar at the top if I wanted with a CSS edit. But this is just a demonstration of applying a color set for a specific brand, possibly that you want to represent, maybe your own. I'll change the theme to it. This is the North Plains set that we're currently working with North Plains branding colors. And you can see I actually added a style sheet update, not just colors, but I also told it to use these reversed out logos in my branding bar so that I have white to pop out versus the blue that was in the default set. Okay, so that is a quick review there.